Guys, what's going on? Back again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice, and everything I say is my opinion alone. Let's jump right into it. We got a couple of news, DAO-related stuff, and even a recap on the event last night in the city that we'll be touching on today. First off, we're starting with the ApeChain proposal. So for those of you who don't know, the ape community has essentially more or less decided that they want an ApeChain. There have been a couple of bids from different ecosystem partners, including Arbitrum, Polygon, Optimism, and even ZK Sync-based ApeChain. Pretty much all these teams kind of vying for the ape community to choose, one or the other to deploy an ApeChain. In this case, if you're not familiar with kind of some of the history, I think way back when there was some sort of, I think it was the other side mint that like caused gas fees on Ethereum to go way sky high. And, at that time, Yuga Labs, I think it was Yuga Labs at the time, decided that the apes need their own chain. And I think they decided on an Ethereum-based layer 2 is going to be the only solution that they're looking at. So here we are today. There's actually a snapshot live right now with the voting going on as we speak. The Horizon Labs and Arbitrum one is currently winning at 10 million ape. Polygon is following by 7.6 million, and then A-Team and Optimism at 4 million. So definitely exciting things happening here. The vote ends in about a week. So, we'll see, what ends up happening with that. I will say, though, that, I think what's interesting is, and I have this tweet pulled up here, actually, by the ApeCoin team in particular, is that they're, all the different proposals have different kind of nuances that are being offered to the ApeChain. I think the one that obviously I'll point out in this case, that's, with the Arbitrum one, they're being offered a layer 2 or a layer 3. I think it's something that it's definitely interesting to think about because depending on the choice that they pick, you'll have different types. You'll have a completely different chain essentially, right? Sequencer revenue, I think if it's in L2, some of that needs to go towards the DAO just because that's how the setup currently works. In L3, but in the case of an L3, it's permissionless and they don't need to give any sequencer revenue to the DAO. So interesting things happening. I think it's going to be, whether they pick Arbitrum or a different, a stack-based chain, it'll be interesting to see ApeChain actually come to fruition. I guess we all knew it was going to happen at some point. It looks like 2024 is when we're going to probably see it. All right, on to the next one. We have, a tweet by 0x. 0x says gasless swaps are now live on Arbitrum, offering users the most frictionless trading experience in Arbitrum in your app with transaction relay API. Then you can say improve. Oh my God, jeez. I'm terrible at reading these tweets. I don't know why. English isn't my first language. It actually is, but I just can't speak it apparently. Improve conversion and retention with gasless swaps today. This is essentially if you haven't used it before, a 0x or essentially I think Matcha is kind of like the front end for 0x. Essentially kind of like a DEX aggregator. So it's an option to use if you don't want to use, for example, like 1inch or any other DEX aggregators that you may be familiar with. But this in particular is actually pretty cool. So they're essentially saying here, you can swap for any token on Arbitrum without paying gas fees. Or in this case, I assume by what they mean by no gas fees is like you can pay in like the native token that you're swapping with. I could be wrong. I do want to try this out though. So I know they did say it's live on 0x. I want to try it out on Matcha, which again, like I said, is like the front end for 0x, just to see like how it actually works in practice. Because I'm not gonna lie, if I can onboard normies into Arbitrum and have them swap, I don't know, like any native token to ETH or like vice versa without them having to spend gas, I mean, this is going to be the first choice I'd probably pick, right? So shout out to 0x for launching that on Arbitrum. This is currently launched on Ethereum and Polygon, so Arbitrum is their third deployment, which is always great to see. We have a tweet here by Rainbow. Rainbow says, it's Arbitrum week at Rainbow. We've teamed up with GMX and Treasure to retroactively reward the Arbitrum community and encourage all Ethereum users to explore the Arbitrum ecosystem. Arbitrum users, if you haven't experienced Rainbow yet, now's the time. Keep doing what you love on Arbitrum while earning more Rainbow points. Once you're Rainbow, you won't want to go back. Nice. They have a little image of the small brain app icon over here. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. If you don't already have Rainbow, it's essentially like a crypto wallet, an alternative to a MetaMask, a Coinbase wallet, etc. Very good UI, very sleek, and definitely feels very crypto native. I will say it's like I have a couple wallet apps that I use personally, and Rainbow is definitely in that list. of apps that I use. So pretty cool to see them partnering with like ecosystem, classics, and incentivizing people with their points. I'm really curious to see how that points thing ends up working out for them. Oh, and I have to mention this too, by the way, that they have a live mint on Zora, which of course is on Arbitrum now, which is literally the small brain PFP. I think it's minted about, oh my God, so there are over 3,500 unique minters and about over 5,000 mints for this, generally speaking. I don't think I've minted this yet, so I think after this video I'll make sure to mint it. But this is amazing. This is I think they actually released the icon for the Rainbow app, like the ability to change the icon to this. I want to say about a year ago, or no, probably even 2 years ago almost now, actually. Wow, time flies, man. All right, next up, we have a tweet by ArbitrumDAO, which, by the way, this is a new account created by members of the DAO, not affiliated with the foundation. Highly recommend you take a look and follow this account if you are interested in keeping up to date with the ArbitrumDAO. Great to see that. But yeah, talking about this tweet, the Arbitrum Foundation and Hack Humanity are co-hosting a 3-day governance bootcamp and open community showcase during the week before Ethereum Denver from February 26th to the 28th. More info below. So if you're going to ETH Denver and you're going to be there a little early before the actual conference, definitely make sure to sign up for this Arbitrum GovHack. Again, if you're interested in learning more about learning more about Arbitrum governance, I'll just see, or maybe even just contributing or seeing who's even involved, I highly recommend you sign up and take a look. Like I said, I think I'll probably be there as well. But because I get to Denver on the 26th, I want to say, so I'll get there right in time for GovHack. But yeah, exciting things. And then moving on to another tweet that they also put out, and this one is actually probably maybe even a little more relevant for those who are interested in joining, is reminding delegates who wish to participate in the delegate incentive program that you need to opt in by applying in the forum. This is essentially, and it's funny because I might have already talked about this in another video, but I'll talk about it again. Someone passed a proposal, I think it was Seed Latam. They passed a proposal within the Arbitrum DAO to essentially incentivize people to be active members within the Arbitrum DAO. And in this case, there's about 50,000 ARB, I want to say, that's being allocated to those active members. I think it was 50,000 ARB. I could be wrong. But anyways, in this case, some of the eligibility criteria is over 500,000 ARB in voting power. I don't know. I think it's 50,000 ARB. I don't think it's 500,000. I need to check that again. And then a historical participation rate on Tally of over 25%. So you needed to have already been a little bit active on Tally before this, and you need to have a certain amount of ARB allocated for voting power. I want to say, I thought it was 50K though. Yeah, I think it's 50K, not 500K. I should probably clarify that with them in the tweet. But really exciting stuff. I'm definitely on the side of caution when it comes to incentivizing things. I've never been a big fan of like throwing incentives into an ecosystem and thinking that that's going to be the end all be all for community growth, because it's not. If anything, it actually kind of hurts it to a certain extent, and definitely should not be something that's relied upon. But I do think that it's a good mechanism to kind of experiment with at a DAO level, especially because like participating in DAOs is a lot of work. It really is. And I'm obviously not in the DAO. I work at Offchain Labs, so I am in the Arbitrum ecosystem, but on the different side of it. But it's definitely something that I think is worth experimenting with and seeing, if it is something that is valuable long term, to maybe do again, after this round happens. But yeah, shout outs to the DAO and Seed Latam for actually throwing that. And then we'll end off today's video with a recap of last night. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, there was actually an Arbitrum event being hosted at Station 3 in New York City around 6 p.m. last night Eastern. We had Austin from Offchain Labs here talking about Arbitrum tech and the ecosystem stuff. Here's a picture of him talking about Arbitrum Orbit. So a lot of alpha being spilled here, technical alpha, I guess you could say. And then of course we had a a speech by Lime also talking about everything related to the Arbitrum DAO. Very philosophical in nature. I thought it was also a really, really good speech. And of course, he has a small brain and a pudgy penguin here on his presentation, which is also amazing. But yeah, that being said, I want to say another shill. I forgot to do this last episode. I can't believe it, but got a shill Beneath the Layers, a community-focused show dedicated to showcasing entrepreneurs in Web3 and telling their stories. It is hosted by myself. And yeah, no, definitely worth a look if you're interested at all in crypto-based podcast or even just entrepreneurial based podcasts. A lot of these shows are they're with people that work within crypto and Web3, but it's mostly about them and them being an entrepreneur and kind of growing their business and where they're at today. So definitely, definitely worth watching. I think, obviously in my opinion, I'm going to say that, but feel free to watch it on X, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's on all those platforms. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace out.